anybody that's watching or listening to this is going to do what they need to do.
Here's how I would manage a PR team.
What her content plan was for the whole 12 months. And all she did then,
That's a pro move.
say no to cracks, man.
I'm an entrepreneur. I create a brand. I create demand. And I'm surviving, right?
But more leaders should quit earlier than they actually do.
This is why PR kind of sucks.
It would be much better to know you're going to go through the dip and go like,
I don't think that's the way business works anymore.
if you wait any longer, you won't have time to react. You'll be dead.
This is the alarming data, Gabe.
You're ghosting your people. You don't realize it.
Tell me what you guys are doing for me. Tell me that you're not boondoggling.
She more than tripled her business in 1 year.
That would be a game changer for some folks.
And the answer was,
You also have to just add just this one question in there.
what's the most important problem in the business right now that needs to get solved?
I'm confused.
What do you think is keeping most of the folks that are listening and watching from creating that system and like putting that system into place? What do you think is getting in the way of that?
By 2027, if you don't fix it, it's going to be fatal.
And the flip side, like the opportunity is,
We didn't want to build anything that was going to build itself. How did you manage 15 to 20 PR teams a year?
they're not even on your team.
AI can actually teach you how to use it.
And to leverage your humanness in a way that you've never been able to before.
That's the amen moment right there.
The problem with the AI tsunami and what's coming is...
You want to talk about boondoggles?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring us back to the boondogglers.
DM everybody. It's got to be me. It's got to be me. You said you have a story, so I want to hear a story about a transformation or something that's going on in your world.
Yeah, absolutely. My friend Taryn, pretty phenomenal what she's done over the last couple of years. Taryn has been in the gym business, has been an athlete her whole life, owned a gym, shifted her business model, and now works with small business owners really over kind of North America, Canada, and has had a pretty incredible transformation last year in 2025. Going into the year, and tell me if you can relate, whether you're kind of listening, watching along. She started the year, with a business that was making some revenue. She was doing, 20, 30K a month here and there. It felt like a lot of it was all on her shoulders. She was alone. She kind of had, folks that were helping her along the way, but really it was a big slog. And it was like, wow, I'm doing all this work just to get this kind of point in momentum and revenue. And it seemed to be kind of plateaued. So she did something really interesting at the start of the year, where you fast forward to the end of 2025. She's had her own service businesses. She owned her own gyms for years and now is working with those businesses to help them grow. And so she started the year going like, I can't just keep doing this. She kind of like had built a business that she hated because she's like, I'm doing all these things to make revenue. It's all on my shoulders. And it's not even like growing anymore. So it's like, now I'm doing all this stuff and we've kind of plateaued. So she really took a look at like, okay, what am I doing that I can cut? How do I design a business that fits around the life that I want to live? And then what are going to be the things that are actually going to drive business forward? And she realized there was like one missing system that was like really key to her growth, that she ended up, before 2025 even started, took a look at the whole year, planned out this system, which is, I'll drop the answer to the test, which was her nurture and her engagement system. She's like, I need a way to be able to continue to be in front of my market and not just be shouting at them, but give them a way to have this like two-way engagement conversation, but more so than just that being an idea or a philosophy that I need to do. Like, she got very practical about like, what does that actually mean? What do I, Taryn, have to do in my business to drive this forward?
That's the classic constraint. I don't know what it is. Now I'm aware of what it is. Now do I really need it? And then how much am I really losing by not having it? Before it's just no visibility, no awareness.
Yeah.
But that's the classic constraint, not knowing exactly what nurture and sequencing can do to build follow through. I mean, as they say, the treasures are in the follow-ups. Is that how it is? Yeah.
The fortunes in the follow-up. Because
I think
a lot of us, we get, we have to start with what's the problem we're trying to solve. And I think if you sit down with most business owners, most entrepreneurs, regardless of industry, they're going to be like, I need more revenue. That's the problem I'm trying to solve. I need more customers. And it's like, okay, well, yes, of course, that's obvious. But like, what is the problem that we have to solve that would actually lead to that? Because the answer can't be, oh, I just need to go get more customers.
Well, sometimes it's hiding behind what I like to call spreadsheet hell, and
Oh
not
yeah.
saying, like, oh, I've got all these like names and emails and people. I feel rich because I got this database, but I'm not doing anything with it. And they're just spreadsheets and nobody knows how to like be strategic with it. Right.
No, they don't. We're looking at it like, okay, well, what do we do? And so what do we end up doing? We end up kind of like grasping at straws, and we try different tactics and things. We're like, hey, I'm going to go hire this person, and they'll be the answer to my I need more customers problem, or I'm going to go hire this agency, or I'm going to implement this new thing, or I asked ChatGPT and it gave me this amazing idea that I'm going to try to implement. Like we kind of grasp at straws for strategies. But what Taryn did differently is she got really invested in, okay, like what is the problem, and really what are two important questions. One, and we talked about this when we were kind of talking about like preloaded year stuff and like planning our year. One, what are the important milestones throughout the year, adventures that I want to go on? How do I even want to set up my work week? Like what am I willing to do? What am I not willing to do? Like how do I design the game of business so that it's one that I could play forever? Like this needs to be fun because business is already like hard enough. And, Elon Musk talks about it's like eating glass, because as the owner, all the biggest problems roll up to you. And that's kind of like the job of the entrepreneur, is to solve the biggest, hairiest, gnarliest problems in any business. So if you're going to be able to do that, like let's start first with designing a business we actually want to run. So like for her, what that looked like was, I don't want to be on sales calls nonstop 24/7. I've got to have a different method. So then she asked herself, well, if I'm not going to be selling on sales calls, what would have to be true for me to grow my business and not have to do sales calls? She then goes, okay, well, and also I don't want to be working 60-hour work weeks. I want to work 3-4 hours a day, and I want to be able to spend a couple months a year in a warmer climate, because she lives in Canada, where this time of year, she's in the Arctic tundra and doesn't want to be there anymore. So she starts asking herself these questions of what would need to be true. And the answer was her marketing would have to be like rock solid, meaning like her content game would have to be, she had to go pro on the content side. Because if she did that, the marketing could do a lot of the heavy lifting that wouldn't then require the sales piece. And then she goes, okay, well, how do I make if the marketing has to be pro and I don't want to be working 60 hours a week, I don't want to be on the content hamster wheel, how do I do that? So essentially what she did, she sat down.
Let me just jump in real quick, and you hold right there. I think you're getting really advanced, right? Like I get to pick my life, where I want to work, who I want to work with, how I like, what my filters are, right? I deal with that daily. But like, what are my filters? What do I show up for? What do I get interested in, right? That's a pro move. A lot of people I'm an entrepreneur. I create a brand. I create demand, and I'm surviving, right? So she's built something. I think a lot of us have just realized that we build something and we're sitting here with something of value, but we can get to that point. It's what's after that point of demand, right? And a lot of people, I even have some clients and friends right now who wait for it not to be working. And I just want to kind of clear that up. Like you're saying, like pro move, how do I want to work? How do I want to be happy? What do I want to build a business I want to be in? But I think you also have to just add just this one question in there. What will I see as an indicator that things are going to go in the wrong direction, and how do I course correct before it's already too late? And I think your success story here is kind of getting to like, it's a little bit before it gets too late. Like she identified it, and a lot of people don't. But I think you don't have to be like losing in the red to choose this route. I mean, it's just having that feeling.
Taryn was doing fine. Like her gym business was working. She shifted models to be kind of more like coaching, consulting with service providers, because she'd been in that industry for a long time. And like that was working. She's bringing in, 20, 30K a month as like with no team. She's doing that by herself. Like she's making a good wage, but was just kind of plateaued, where I've definitely I know you've been probably on calls with folks who are like, this has to work. Like I'm at a stage in my business now where like, this has to work, or which essentially what they're saying is, or else like I've got to do something else because this is kind of the last straw. We definitely don't need to wait until you get there.
This
Kind
is
of
the
thing. Like
last
don't do
straw.
that. The last
I know.
straw.
I know those days.
Yeah.
Last straw means desperate.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, and there's no reason to wait to get there. And like I guess if I were to give kind of the Cliff's Notes version, because I know I do have a tendency to get like super technical and advanced on this stuff. If we look at what Taryn did, and really ultimately the result that she got, where now she's doing 130K a month consistently, working less. She just hopped on a plane and is spending the next couple of weeks somewhere real warm because she can. And she loves the business that she's running. It doesn't feel like work. She's only working the time that she wants to be working, and her marketing is doing so much of the heavy lifting because she has a system to, one, bring people into her world, two, to engage with those people and actually like get them to reply to her emails and her socials. She's got a couple of channels. She's not like spread all over the place. She doesn't have a huge following on social, but like she has a very dense, a very rich following. She's got a few thousand followers, and she's running a 7-figure business with basically no team. Maybe a couple of helpers in it. And it's because she sat down at the beginning of the year. She got really clear on what's the problem I'm trying to solve, what's the game I want to design that I would enjoy playing, and then let me actually put together a content and an engagement plan. So on January 1st, she knew exactly what her content plan was for the whole 12 months. And all she did then, she literally just followed the plan. It wasn't constantly changing and evolving. She didn't get to March and be like, oh, like what's my plan now or what's my strategy? She did all the thinking up front and then just literally executed the plan and started to wait to see like, oh, when I put this content out here, and I don't get the reply, but I put this other kind of content out here and I do get the reply, let me pay attention to that. Okay, I'm going to do more of that, not the other thing. She wasn't changing strategies. She was just getting better at playing the game. And like 6 months into it, middle of 2025, it was like one of these like classic, like, okay, it started to take traction. It was just like, bing.
She knew it was working, right? I just look at it like we always talk about this like leaky bucket syndrome. And it's just like, all you're doing is patching the leaks and seeing which ones are going to work better. And then all of a sudden you just start to see like, oh my gosh, now it actually starts generating cash again. Right?
Yeah.
Because you spent all this time creating the cracks and now you just fill those cracks back up and you're like, oh wow, now I know what works and now I have to focus on. Right?
Say no to cracks, man.
Say no to cracks. Crack kills the business.
Cracks kills. The only way I feel like you can kind of commit to something like that, because there is inevitably this like the trough of despair, whatever you want to call it, where originally, like when you have a new idea or something new, whether it's a new marketing strategy, a new tool, a new business, a new idea, in the beginning, there tends to be a lot of optimism of like, oh, like this could be the thing. And then inevitably, there's going to be like a dip or a drop of like, did I make the right choice, right? But that's where, to your point, we got to have some of those measures in place to go, okay, like what am I measuring and how much time am I willing to invest before I like go and pull the plug? Seth Godin wrote a great book called The Dip that talks exactly about this idea. And in the summary of the book, really like the big takeaway from the book is more entrepreneurs, more business people, more leaders should quit earlier than they actually do. Because what they end up happening is they have that initial optimism, they get into the dip and they quit and they restart the cycle. And then they have the optimism and they dip and then they quit and they restart the cycle over and over and over. It would be much better to know you're going to go through the dip and go like, is it worth that? Am I willing to give it 6 months, 12 months? Okay, if we're at 18 months and I'm still not seeing traction, that's probably a point where we should like red alert, raise the flags. But I'm not going to jump from the plan, month 2, 3, 4. Like I'm willing to stay committed. Or, the other option, like Seth says in the book, is you should really look at it and be like, no, it's not worth it. I actually probably shouldn't. Let me go find a different problem or a different thing that actually would be worth me sticking through, that if I did, it's going to get me to the promised land. So I'm not hanging out with all those boondogglers by the fireplace.
Oh, you want to talk about boondoggles?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring us back to the
Uh,
boondogglers.
well, I could tell you a quick boondoggle story.
Okay.
All right,
I'm good for a
so
good boondoggler story.
all
Always.
right, so a lot of people ask me like, how did you manage 15 to 20 PR teams a year, right? So I'm on a 20 city tour, 20,000 guests a year. I've got one PR team that I manage at top. That's like my home office that manages kind of the general message. So you speak your brand mission, what's happening, where it's going. That's your national campaign leader. And
Mm-hmm.
then each market, I'd hire another PR team. So all these local teams. And it was like my measurement for their success was would I ever hire them again? And it wasn't necessarily about, it was giving them all test projects. I didn't know what test projects were at that time, but I was just
Mm.
like, hey, here's an opportunity. I need you to reach out to these 5 chefs, these 4 retail, or these 2, 3, 4 retailers, and talk to your local media. And I'm expecting 20 hits in the press. And I could garnish 20 hits in the press just by sending out an email myself. So it was basically bare minimum. And
Sure.
I just need you to like talk to everybody. And the ones who accomplished it, I would work with the next year because I could trust them. The ones who couldn't accomplish it, I would never pick up the phone again. And the ones that I wanted to work with for the rest of my life, guess how many are around today? This is why PR kind of sucks because there was nothing there that was showing me how to change my business or how to make it better, how to make it
Mm.
stick. Like they weren't coming to me and say, hey, next year we want to do 3 months with you. Hey, we want to do a full-time retainer with you. They didn't know how to like run just the basic measurements. So when I'm talking about PR, I'm saying, here's how I would manage a PR team. Give them a 1 or 2 month project, which they're saying it takes that much time to get any kind of results. Run it for 1 or 2 months. If they don't hit the results, walk away. It's a dud. Don't even expect anything else. But today's environment, what do I
Mm-hmm.
think PR means? PR means that you are connecting with the community that are going to buy my products and you're going to show me an ROI. That means you're going to go in, I'm going to pay you $3,000 and I want to see at least $3,300 in my bank account. Guaranteed results from you. Otherwise, I
Yep.
take my money and put it in the marketplace. That's a
Sure.
10% return. I can go do that anywhere. Why would I give you my money? Because I can just go buy $300 worth of ads tomorrow and actually hopefully sell a ticket. So PR, tell me what you guys are doing for me. Tell me that you're not boondoggling hundreds and thousands of clients in the United States with bloated invoices that promise results and show short on return. So that's the boondoggle story of today. That's how I would manage one PR team. And I think, it just gets into that whole like, trust us, it's working reports. And I don't think that's the way business works anymore. Like, your client came in, she had, hey, I don't think things are working. I want it to work better. Can you show me what results look like? And the turnaround is, yes, we can actually show you results. And that's why I'm in a business right now, because we've promised to deliver on some of our promises over the years, and that's what your reputation is all about. So I don't know. That's my only story.
There's a number of different lessons from Taryn's story that I think are important. The reason I bring it into this conversation, the ghosted guest conversation, has to do with the fact that she tackled one of the core problems that I think we see as a glaring problem that is costing so many, especially in hospitality, money, which is the engagement problem, right? You're ghosting your people. You don't realize it. You're incredible at creating in-person experiences, and you don't take that same approach to your social or your online or your digital presence. You take an incredible attention to detail when you're preparing a menu and how you're going to run service, but then you don't take that same approach to your digital storefront. And what Taryn did was like, she was very aware of that like, hey, we are in an online world. And when all of my clients and customers are not at my gym or not working with me in my consulting, they are off scrolling social. They are watching videos on YouTube. They are looking for their next big idea. And so how could she connect with them there? And she wasn't just throwing spaghetti at a wall, but she literally created a system to do that. She's like, okay, what would the system need to look like that I could run with it, just like the way that a good chef runs a restaurant? Like, hey, what's my system for putting together a menu, for sourcing ingredients, for doing prep, for working with the front of house to actually deliver service? Like, she took that same level of approach the way like a head chef would in a restaurant, but she did that with her content and her engagement system. And then because of that, she more than tripled her business in 1 year, and like has a business that she loves and it doesn't loathe.
That would be a game changer for some folks. You know, if I tripled my business, I don't even know if my infrastructure could handle it right now.
What do you think is keeping most of the folks that are listening and watching from doing that, from actually creating that system and like putting that system into place? What do you think is getting in the way of that, from them not doing it?
I think a majority of everybody is in a renting of the machine versus owning the machine mentality. Mm-hmm. You know, I was thinking about like, what's going to be the difference between super successful entrepreneurs and business owners next year and those who are struggling? And those who are renting other people's time and waiting in line for their invoices versus those who are being the engineers of their systems and owning it 100% and having 100% clarity on every single facet. Now in hospitality, I know exactly what goes on my grapes in the field. I know what time they pick down to the hour and the temperature and what it's going to be overnight and what it goes into the bottle. But when it hits the sales process or the buyer's journey, I'm confused.
Yeah.
Never again.
Find a good distributor that'll get me where
and
I need
they blame
to go.
the distributors or they blame whoever. Like, never again. Like, when we get into the restaurants, it just hits a black hole. I put $4,000 into social media and digital stuff, and it just hits this black hole. And I'm like, whoa, I just know it's not right. Like, that's renting the machine mentality. And I think you've got to figure out exactly what your system is. So I think that's one of them. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm. I do. Yeah, I 100% do. I think Elon Musk talks about it really well. And you look at how he runs business, regardless of what you think about him, the guy's a phenomenal entrepreneur. He knows what he's doing. And he talks about clouds and dirt. And I think he does clouds and dirt really, really well, where he can get up above the business and the problems and get really clear on what's the most important problem in the business right now that needs to get solved. And then he literally goes down to the dirt, the runway level. Like, he's on the assembly line. He's with the engineers who are putting together the rockets. He's with the engineers, that are overhauling Twitter and X. Like, so he can be above the clouds, and then he can very quickly get down to dirt runway level to actually attack that problem. I think he does that really well, where I think most do the opposite and they stay in the middle. They stay in like middle manager zone where, hey, I'm like you said, they're renting out. I'm going to abdicate responsibility of promotion to this PR firm, or I'm going to abdicate responsibility of engagement to this social media manager. I'm going to abdicate. And now you get into manager mode of like, okay, I've got to manage all these people, but like, they're not even on your team. Like, so what, like, how are you going to manage someone that's not even on your team? That's like got, 37 other clients that they are focused on, and they're just trying to collect a check. And again, there's a time and place for those players, but not in like the critical integral parts of your business, and not if you don't have a system already to manage them. And that's where I think, like clouds and dirt, like, can we get up above it to get really clear on what are the problems we need to solve? And then down to the runway level of like, all right, what's broken in the system? What's the system that's missing? Like Taryn did, got really clear on those kind of what her content and engagement system needed to look like. So she knew exactly what she needs to do on, Thursday, February 5th, I know exactly what I'm doing today. And then as soon as I do that, I can go do whatever I want. But I put in that time, and I do that consistently over time. And all of a sudden my business starts to grow.
I got breaking news here. You want to see a new report?
Breaking news. Yes.
All right. So this is the alarming data, Gabe, that most brands reveal this hidden leak. And it's like across time, from today till, let's say, your next 5 years, you have all this invisible loss. And you have this signal, which is your traffic and attention, but everything in this gap that most people just run plateau. and they wonder why their margins are flat, why their business is kind of like plateauing. Their traffic isn't. They're just not in line. And everything that's in the gap zone is the loss. So classic constraint, no capture, no automation, no attribution. All leaking, right? So this is it, the rent versus own trap.
That's a really great visual of exactly what it is. And the thing about it too, and we were talking about it earlier in the conversation, of you don't have to wait until it's last straw time. Last straw time is obvious. You're like, that's when it's desperate, of like, we have to put up or shut up. We gotta sell our way out of this, or otherwise we're closing up shop. We're gonna put a sign on the front door, and that's how people are gonna find out like they don't have a job anymore, right? Like,
well, that's
not where most are at.
But I think that urgency that you spoke right there is that people don't understand that AI is coming for your job, right? No, my friend. AI is coming for your business. And it's not because they want to just take over your business. It's that your competitors are going to learn the balance between human and automation, and they're going to take your market share. So what you had on Thursday nights as a good night are going to be dead because you're not following your attention and your demand traffic. So the other people are going to figure out how to use automation to get in front of that traffic and then give them an offer to get them in their door. It's coming for you. It's just like it says right here. By 2027, if you don't fix it, it's going to be fatal.
Exactly. And the problem is it's going to happen so quickly, which is kind of what I was alluding to, where if the bills are piling up and you stop paying yourself and like things are at a breaking point, the pain is so big, like anybody that's watching or listening to this is going to do what they need to do. The problem with the AI tsunami and what's coming is it probably feels subtle. Now, because in the back of your mind, you're like, how am I going to compete in this world? Like, things are changing. Like, you already have that cue. So like, listen to that cue. But I can tell you most people are ignoring it, and they are just kind of continuing with business as usual because the current level of revenue is good enough. And like, you're not in that drastic, like, last straw mode. And if you're not in that last straw mode, I'm just going to kind of like keep doing business and we'll adapt as we go. Those are the folks that I'm the most concerned for, because it's going to happen so quickly where overnight they'll will have taken your business. And it doesn't matter if you're a technology company or not. Like, you don't have to be, you could be, a winery in, remote Italy somewhere that has no Wi-Fi on your entire property, and it's still going to come for you because of how people shop and buy and make decisions of like where they're going to travel to.
I got to show you this one. This is my favorite one right here.
Oh man.
The jaws of death. Like
exactly. It's subtle, and that opportunity gap, like between
the jaws of death is not subtle.
Well, it is in the beginning. It is in the beginning, and you're like, oh, this is close, and like this is just. But again, it's going to split so quickly at that. If you wait any longer, you won't have time to react. You'll be dead.
Yeah, and if you see what's going on social media, like, people are like, I can't believe this hack is even, this should be illegal. Every time you see this should be illegal, and the guy takes the guy's plumber address, and then he takes the guy's website, puts it in, he's like, oh, I got a website, and I got an AI agent for it, and I got all this stuff, and they call the restaurant. They call the plumber.
Yeah.
Dude, they're coming for your competition. If you ignore it because you think it's not going to affect your business, you're going to fall in that same position. Like, you have to adapt. And you have to understand that nurturing and sequencing, the stuff that we hated to do, is now able to be automated with the right people. Now you just have to find the right people to help you. Now, PR teams who have boondoggled you for the last 15 years of your business are probably not the people to trust right now, unless they really know their shit. So who do you trust, Gabe? I
trust the folks that spit truth, because truth is truth, and I'm going to be able to like see through it. And then they've got track record. I also realize things are changing so quickly. Anybody that is kind of like locked in their ways and been doing things the same way and is continuing to do so and is trying to sell me some playbook from, even 2024 or 2020 or 2010, I'm like, okay, like if your playbook is, more than 3 months old, more than 6 months old, I don't trust you, because things are changing so quickly.
Well, I mean, to give you an idea, like how quickly it's changing for us, I've got three apps in process right now, right? One that's worked on for 10 years, and we hit pause when AI started because we didn't want to build anything that was going to build itself. Think about that. We stopped an entire $1 million project because we did not want to build something that will build itself. Yesterday, I'm listening to Dan Martell talk, and he's like, you know what? We're first time in human history that the new technology is innovative enough to teach you how to use it. Think about that. Fire, phones, the wheel, internet, like all of this stuff took experts to teach you how to use it. AI can actually teach you how to use it. Like it's the first innovative tool that will actually teach the human how to make it better, faster, stronger in your hands. And you're not using it. It's a very interesting point that you've got to take a look at it and see where do you fall in this whole mission of where your business is going, how it's going to be in the next 2 years. But our apps, we're just like, we don't want to build something that's going to build itself.
And in the flip side, like the opportunity is the opposite, because for the folks that lean into this and embrace it, that just means now you're going to have leverage that your competition won't, because you're going to be able to move faster. You're going to be able to engage uniquely with your customers so that you can do the thing that I think is probably most important, which is kind of get leverage on your humanness, the part of your business that is fully human, that one-to-one connection, that one-to-many connection, which you can't do when you're buried in logistics and in the weeds and of doing all this stuff that we've had to do manually for so many years. But as soon as now, same thing, the printing press is invented, and all of a sudden the constraint on getting information out there is removed, and now it's much easier to share ideas. The internet comes along, same thing. Now we're able to expand that at scale. Social, internet 2.0 comes along. Now we're able to connect with folks. So in the same way, this wave with AI specifically removes so many constraints. But again, only if you lean into them. If you don't, you're toast. But if you do, now that gives you this huge opportunity to create remarkable experiences, to connect with people, and to leverage your humanness in a way that you've never been able to before.
That's the amen moment right there. I think you just can't ignore this shift anymore. I mean, from a business perspective, I'll tell you the quick story. 12 Instagram accounts at one time, overstretched, hundreds of thousands of people in a database. And I'm just scratching at the top 1% to fund the dream. And I could have been 10 times further along right now if I would have figured out engagement years ago. Like I'm talking 5 years ago. And I thought engagement was like being on your phone while you're out at dinner while you're with everybody else. Like, oh, I got to DM everybody. It's got to be me. It's got to be me. Like, no, like engagement is making people feel seen, having your teams understand what your brand tonality is and how to speak in an owner's tone. So everyone thinks it's the owner all the time. And if you get caught, you just say, I am Gabe. Brady is out for the afternoon. And he checks in all the time. Like, how can I help? I'm just catching up for him. Oh, okay, cool. Great. Thanks for the, it doesn't matter if it's a winemaker or a distiller. So I just think you can't ignore the shift anymore. Because from one of our clients that I've seen who has made the shift, they went from zero ability to DM and be in contact with everybody to putting one person on 40 hours a week for $700 a month. Gave someone a really good job in a community where that person doesn't have really good opportunities. They love it. And they get to make people feel good by communicating with them when the owner is out running his business and making more moves, right? Now that client has 2,200 open conversations in DMs that are all buying, interested to buy, closer to buying. So what would your average check times 2,200 equal divided by somebody who works for $700 a month? 40 hours a week. You do the math. I just think you can't ignore this shift right now. That's where
I
those
like the
fatal
math on
jaws of
that.
death are going to come latching down on your throat.
No, I
It's the
like that. I
world.
like that math. I like that math a lot. I mean, and that's the thing is there's, clients like that. There's the Tarryns of the world, the folks that like join the squad, the crew of people, the tribe that's doing this, that's already like caught on to this being kind of the key for this next wave in the economy. No reason to get left behind. You don't need to. There's folks already doing it that have proven it. There's still time now to get in on it before the jaws of death, rip the life from your business.
I mean, it's inevitable. Like, it's going to happen. The hard part about, you know, selling or trying to help people is that you really want to get them the tools that they need, but you can't walk a horse to water. It's going to want to feel the pain first. And, like, that's the hard thing about like trying to help people see what's going on in their business before they see it, because you see it. And I think the best way to think about if you have a problem as a business owner or an operator is if somebody, and I love asking this question when we're on a table and we're looking at like, what's the goals here, right? I have one question, but this is my other favorite question is, if somebody came in and bought your business tomorrow for that number, what would be the first thing they would change? And if your gut feeling is that they would probably get rid of number one or number two because they see a better opportunity than you do, is probably why they're buying it. So being very crystal clear, if you have a gut check, then it's time to make a movement right now because technology is in your favor. Pick up the fucking phone, dial the little blue dot called GPT and talk to it.
That's good. That's good. I think that's the pod.
There's the pod.